Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Sibi. The title of my study is The Economic Impact of African Swine Fever Virus Outbreak in the Mpumalanga Province, South Africa, using the outcosting peak tool. The aim is to determine the quantitative economic impact and cost implications of limited and widespread outbreaks of African swine fever within the area. My objectives will be to determine the direct cost of the disease on the affected epidemiological units and to determine the indirect cost of non-diseased animals affected by the quarantine restrictions on neighboring farms, and to determine the state veterinary services outbreak control costs. To achieve this, we will be using the outcosting tool. Now, with the outcosting tool, you have something, we start off rather with the input parameters. They look something of this nature. And we will achieve to populate this sort of field using surveys that we have constructed. Thereafter, we expect to get outputs from these inputs, and from those outputs you can then estimate the direct cost of the disease, the outbreak investigations, how much did that cost, the stamping out, how much did that cost, cleaning and disinfection, how much did treatment cost, and indirect costs. What is interesting, one of the other outputs is then you would then be able to see how much the different stakeholders spent on the outbreak. For example, veterinary services would have taken most of the costs of stamping out and other related costs. In conclusion, we hope that we can get these parameters that gives us 114 quantitative output items that will help us when the government and other stakeholders have to make policy decisions that have a social economic impact on the people that are affected by the outbreaks. In terms of references, I've only decided to use the one study that actually highlights how to use this outcosting tool, and we hope that at the end of it we will then be able to demonstrate that there is indeed significant costs that are associated with these outbreaks, and these costs are directly incurred by the owners, the farmers, which are the farmers, yes, and the veterinary services as well as other stakeholders. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your kind attention.